Hello again, and welcome to Faith, Family, and Politics. I'm your host, Joshua Cummins. And I know that you're already subscribed. Right, Alan? They're already subscribed?
They should be. They should like and subscribe and make sure to share with all their friends.
Yeah, because sharing is caring.
Nice. That totally was his hand, guys. That was not anything from the soundboard.
Yeah, it's magic.
It really is. It's annoying when he's eating other things. They're like trying to swat a fly away.
Yeah.
The worst.
Yeah, I was like, here goes a fly.
Next, I want to see you in a tattoo or a tutu doing that.
Yeah, or watch this. Here goes a fly.
Tutu.
Oh, I guess it doesn't work every time.
Not every time.
Maybe this time. Maybe this time. Swatting a fly. Nope. Yeah. See? It's intermittent magic. Intermittent magic.
It's fair. It's fair. Just store it up.
Slight delay. Slight
It's
delay.
not made in America.
It's made in China. It's made in China. But Faith, Family, and Politics is just one show of quite a few here at Revolver Broadcasting. And so make sure that you're going to our website, revolverbroadcasting.com, and checking out all of our shows. I gotta talk to actually Danielle about getting yours on the website yet. But make sure that you're checking out our first guest to my left here, and you know her, you love her, and she hosts a great show called The Agenda with crystalrisotti. Miss crystalrisotti.
I got a guy. I know a guy. And he's right over there.
He's right over there in the studio, and you just can't see him because they never turn the cameras around. They're fake news.
Sounds like a good dish to me.
It could be. It is when we make it.
Yeah, there you go.
And across from her, it's been a while.
It's been a while.
Glad to have him back. You definitely know him. You definitely love him.
Maybe a little bit.
He's probably the reason you subscribe to Revolver Broadcasting.
Well, you know, if you're still around.
The host of The Laughing Libertarian, Alan McFarland.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here.
I'm so happy to be here for this episode.
Yeah, this episode.
Me too. It's
Honored.
a special one.
Yeah.
Special? How special is it?
You're here.
It's special because we got our guest who's bringing the message tonight, Mr. Richard Greenfield, everybody.
Ooh.
I guess there was no cheers on the soundboard that time. Yeah, there you go.
There we go.
Look at that.
Oh, there you go.
There was a latent response from the crowd, you know, because they never turn the cameras around.
Oh, there they all are. Wow, look at all of them.
And we will get to the message here in a moment, and we will talk about the title of that and get into the prayer over that and everything. But this is a very special occasion, guys. If you're a regular viewer of Faith, Family, and Politics, hey, hopefully, maybe this is even your first time. That's okay. But for us, this is what, guys?
100.
100.
Whatever. We didn't really work it out.
Yeah.
Either way, it's
We'll try it again.
100. We're in
Say
three digits.
100? 3, 2, 1.
Episode 100.
Yeah.
We got it right that time.
The magic of editing, right?
Yes, exactly. And these things aren't going to
Yeah,
work.
we're going to try these.
But we're going to try.
Who's going to... Richard did it first.
No.
I'm
No.
two.
Look at this.
Oh,
I saw something
I
there.
fell at the bottom.
No. This is ridiculous.
Nice work on the pivot, Alan. So for those of you listening on audio, we popped these confetti spring-loaded deals.
Yeah, that's pretty
And,
cool.
yeah.
Spring loaded.
Yeah. Look, I can take the top off manually. It's the worst.
They must be made in China.
Written in
Sorry, I'm
French.
just wearing all my confetti. Don't worry, I'm helping clean up.
I won't.
Just because I'm wearing it, that's why.
He's
You're going to wear it out of here, aren't
going
you?
to wear confetti.
I'm sure it's recyclable.
I think we had some
No.
fireworks too, don't we? We did. Oh, did it go at the same time? I guess it just, our laughter kind of overtook our fireworks button.
All right,
we programmed it into the soundboard.
Right.
I just there it is.
Someone gave me a dud. Someone did this.
Ooh.
Recently.
Wow, see that one?
Wow.
In a studio.
Makes it a little rough. That's okay. No one tell the fire marshal it's okay.
Good job, Sterling. Did you see that? He was lighting fireworks off inside the building and made it work, and it didn't start a fire.
Yeah.
He's talented.
Amazing.
That's why he's the perfect producer.
Amazing.
He's the perfect producer. Yeah. So episode 100, absolutely a big monumentous occasion. So thank you for being with us, those who are viewing and those who listen, and keep sharing with your friends and commenting, because that does push the algorithm and gets us this show out further and further, so we can tell people about the Lord and all those values that come with it, whether it be their family or their politics. Without further ado, what is the title of that message tonight, Mr. Greenfield?
The biggest secret I learned about me. The biggest secret I discovered about myself.
Oh, no, we all have to learn it.
Mm.
We're all going to learn it now.
Yeah.
I don't want to
Yeah.
know.
So, and
Don't
and just
make me.
before we get into that message, would you mind praying over the message?
Not at all. Lord Jesus, thank you for this time that we have together, Father, to lift your name, and especially as we enter through this Easter season, Father, let us remember the price that you paid for us. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Okay, ready?
Yes.
Okay, so you know that if you've heard me before, I'm really into the Lion Chasers Manifesto, which you have up here somewhere.
Yeah, it's stretched directly over your right shoulder on the wall here in the studio.
There it is, up there. Okay.
Nice.
And just to kind of review, I'll make it really fast. The Lion Chasers Manifesto was written by a pastor by the name of Mark Batterson. And Mark Batterson was reading across a guy by the name of Benaniah, found in 2 Samuel. Benaniah was King David's bodyguard, and he chased a lion into a pit on a snowy day. And he goes, what kind of dude does that? And so he wrote what's called the Lion Chasers Manifesto, and it says, quit living as if the purpose of life is to arrive safely at death. Run to the roar. Set God-sized goals. Pursue God-given passions. Go after a dream that's destined to fail without divine intervention. Stop pointing out problems. Become a part of the solution. Stop repeating the past and start creating the future. Face your fears. Fight for your dreams. Grab opportunity by the mane and don't let go. Live like today is the first day and the last day of your life. Burn sinful bridges, blaze new trails. Live for the applause of nailed, scarred hands. Don't let what's wrong with you keep you from what's worshiping right with God. And dare to fail, dare to be different, quit holding out, quit holding back, quit running away. Chase the lion. So each one of these lines means a lot to me, but the line I'm going to focus on tonight is live for the applause of nailed, scarred hands. For years and years and years, I knew there's many times when you're in your own personality and you do self-reflection and you examine yourself, there's what I call blind sides. There's things that you do that other people may notice, but you don't. And it's like, it's weird. It's things that happen that you do. It's just a part of your personality. You do it naturally. For you, it's normal. But for other people, they notice it and they go, wow, that guy, they'll point something out about it. Well, I am now 64 years old, and I wish the 64-year-old could talk to the 20-year-old me and have a little talk. That line that says, live for the applause of nailed, scarred hands. My mother was rather abusive when we were younger. My sister and I both went through the same kind of yelling and screaming and abuse. And one of the things that left us with is we could never please Mom. No matter how hard you tried, there was always something wrong with what you did. And so as I came into adulthood, I think I drove not one but two wives nuts with the fact that I was receiving my self-esteem from them. In other words, how I respond or how I react, I was deriving my self-esteem. And I remember coming home one night, it's Friday night, and of course, maybe you heard the song, it's Saturday night, and I ain't got no money. I got some money because I ain't got no body. I got some money because I just got paid. Well, that was where I was at. I got paid, no date. And I'm like, I said, God, what is wrong with me? What is wrong with me? One of the things I like to do when I was at work, I was on a team at the time, and my team lead was Joel, and the admin was named Stacy. And I would often, like in real estate, it's like playing a game of basketball, or any other sports game. You don't know what's going to happen until you make it happen. And then you may get tackled or you may hit the end zone, but you just don't know. But you like to celebrate the little victories, right? And so I would go to Joel and Stacy and I say, hey man, guess what happened this weekend? I got a lead that does blah, blah, blah. And there's nothing wrong with celebrating with other people. But what's wrong is when I celebrated with Joel and Stacy, their reaction to me set what my self-esteem was going to be for that day. And that's wrong, because it says in the Lion Chasers Manifesto, I'll say it again, it says, live for the applause of nailed, scarred hands. And you know what? Joel and Stacy don't have nailed, scarred hands. And I realized that I'm a person that wants to please everybody, and so I please nobody, which is what you end up finding out. And if you're that type of personality where you're a please me person, and sometimes it'll drive you nuts, but you're driving other people nuts too, but you just don't know it. And I think that in a lot of my relationships, a lot of reasons why some of those relationships failed was because I'm pulling my self-esteem out of you. instead of the source, which is Jesus Christ, the one who died, who paid the price for me, who redeemed me on the cross, who had his back laid wide open with a cat of nine tails. And I finally got to the point where when I realized this, and the light came on like an epiphany that night, and I said, oh, Lord, I see it now. It's the blind side that I never saw. I had done these things for years, and I never saw it, okay, before. And now I'm seeing it. And then I realized why in my dating life, all the girls keep me in the friend zone. They think I'm a really nice guy, but the problem is, you see, I'm trying to drive my self-esteem from them instead of realizing my self-esteem comes from the Christ who died for me, who paid the price on the cross for me, okay? And so then God really hit me between the eyes of the 2x4, and he said, do you understand that that's idolatry? What? That's idolatry, because you're putting your faith and trust in something other than me. And I'm like, oh, I can't believe that. So I repented of that. And I said, man, I'm sorry. And so I literally hit the floor, crying like a baby and asking God to forgive me for that. And as I started to recover and get back up on the couch, it's Friday night, I thought I'm just going to turn on some kind of mind-numb TV, play in the background. And I'm sitting up on the couch, and I'm checking my emails on my phone. Earlier in the day, I had a client who was from the Chin province, and he was kind of ghosting me for a minute. And then he wanted to go see a couple of houses. And I said, dude, why are you ghosting me? He goes, and this was back when people were doing silly stuff to get houses. They were offering $20,000 above list price. Do you know we even got an offer that included a trip to Disney if the seller accepted it?
Wow.
That was crazy. There was crazy stuff going on. And that's how desperate people were to get a house. It was back when interest rates were 2%, which we'll never see that again unless there's a pandemic. So anyway, I took him out and he goes, man, I just can't do all these special things to get a house. And I said, I'll tell you what, if you just stay with me and you keep making offers on houses, I'll do my best to get them approved. I called the agent, told her what was going on. This house had been off the market because somebody else was buying it. They failed to buy it, and now it came back on the market. And as I'm flipping through my emails after my cry session, after my repentance, I'm flipping through my email, and I went, what? Really? It says offer accepted. What do you think the next thing I said was? I want you to tell me what the next thing I said was. Tell me.
Hallelujah.
Okay. What do you
Thank you,
think?
Lord.
What do you think I said?
I was going to say, thank you, Jesus, or something like that. Yeah, I was going to go along kind of the same route she was going.
No. I said, I got to call Joel and Stacy. And I heard myself say that, and I yelled, are you out of your mind? You just got off the floor repenting. And so I said, okay, Lord, again, I'm sorry. And so I said, I'll never do that again. I'll never do that again. And so when I got into work on Monday, Stacy addressed me. And she said, hey, did you get another deal this weekend? I go, yep. She goes, good job. I go, thank you. And I went to work. Ever since then, my relationships have changed dramatically. Even my income has changed. God provided a way for me to go to the Philippines when I thought it was impossible. My income tripled over from previous to the last year. And it was, I've just seen some amazing things. I've seen God move. I've gotten out of the way, and let God in the driver's seat. I'm sitting in the passenger seat. I just saw something funny on the back of a Jeep. It says, God is my co-pilot. And I said, I feel sorry for you. Mm-hmm. Because he's not your co-pilot. He's your pilot. Mm-hmm. He's your pilot. And you're the co-pilot. Mm-hmm. And so I went, wow. And so anyway, it goes right back to that line in the Lion Chaser's Manifesto. Live for the applause of nailed, scarred hands.
Does that include roofers?
Yep.
Okay.
Roofers.
Their hands have probably been scarred by nails.
Oh, yeah.
I was wondering if you still impress
and
roofers.
Carpenters.
I was going to say, the other carpenters.
Yeah, carpenters.
Like New Age carpenters.
The carpenter was.
Well, I know that. That's where I was going. Maybe the other ones are roofers. I was like, maybe he likes to impress those guys too.
Yeah. So that's it.
Well, my dad's a glazer. I'm sure that they could fall in there too.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So that's the biggest secret about me that I learned. And I did not know that existed. I didn't know it was there. I didn't see it. And when I told my kids about it, I go, yeah, Dad, we've seen it for years. It's like, the other people see it, but you don't. And so
People pleasing is dangerous.
Yeah.
You know, it's definitely dangerous because it puts you on such a high and low. I've definitely been there.
Yep.
You know, part of, I guess, having showmanship a lot of time is people pleasing. It's really what it comes down to, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or even just having a channel. Sometimes it's going, you know, okay, we did the thing. Please like it. Please love it. Please share it.
Yeah, please share it.
Please subscribe.
Right.
You know, that is a little bit of people pleasing, and it's part of it. You know, it's part of it. But then it starts to manifest in your mind.
Yeah, and it's okay to be cordial. What's not okay is that if they don't share and subscribe, you're not down in the dumps because you're not deriving your self-esteem from that activity.
Is that what I was saying?
Battling that exact thing with the new show.
Yeah.
Because the first one published, and then I'm sitting there watching the views count to see how many people are watching. How many do I need to share it? I need to share it with this group and that group and that group. And then this last one, I haven't really checked it much.
It's good.
Because I thought I can't let that be the driver.
And of course, it reflects right back to the name of my realty group, the Starfish Mission Realty Group, because
that's why the pins.
Right.
Okay.
That's why the starfish is on. Okay. So basically, it's a parable of starfish thrower. I made a difference to that one. And it doesn't matter if you got one view, you might have made a difference to that one. And that might be the reason why God told you to communicate to that person. And the rest of the 10,000 viewers doesn't matter.
10,000.
Yeah. 100,000 or whatever happens, you know. You never know. You never know how God's going to use it.
That's going to come.
Just says the Bible says, cast your bread upon the waters.
Yeah.
You know, and it won't come back to you void.
And I had to go back to the reason I wanted to do it. Josh knows my heart. There's just so many people that have been asleep, and so and my podcast is not fun by any means. It's not funny. It's not fun. I'm trying to figure out how to make the content fun, but it's things that I feel like everybody needs to know, especially in this country. So I'm a big nerd, and it's nerd content.
Need somebody to write for you?
I might need to bring you on to bring some
This guy has
levity.
funny,
I've
corny
been
jokes.
trying to work with Josh more behind the camera because, you know, it does bring some levity to it. But, yeah, I have to remember the mission and the ministry that I feel like I need to do.
Yeah.
Well, and we had that conversation after recording this most recent episode. That's what I was talking about. Is like, you know, you'll find your audience. Everybody that's supposed to watch will. I mean, every time that I've ever done that very same thing, I was talking about with views and stuff, and sit back and go, oh, well, you know, it wasn't as good this week. I was like, no. We put our heart and soul into the episode. We know it was a good episode, and the people that were supposed to watch it watched it, and then maybe even in the future, because I've seen where people have went back and started watching from episode 1, and then they become a fan through that, but they also get all those different messages and fill out kind of who we are as a company by watching all of our shows sometimes. Mm-hmm. I've had people come to me and say, I actually watch everything you guys put out.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
You never know who you're going to touch.
Yeah. And so that just putting this together is like, if you build it, they will come type of thing. Mm-hmm. Your audience is out there. Like if you're sitting at home and wondering whether or not you should do something like this, I encourage you to do it. I encourage you to put together a program and where you talk about
or a show.
Or a show.
Doesn't have to be a program. It can be a show.
I know that word makes Alan crawl.
And Josh's wife makes good peanut butter bars.
You hate the word show?
A program.
Oh,
yeah.
Josh is always a program guy, and I'm always a show guy, and it's just
He says it's an old people word.
It's a good. I'm sitting down from my program.
I'm just a couple months older than him, but it's enough to make me old.
Watch me some Matlock.
I do like me some Matlock.
I knew it. And that's the difference between show and program.
It's a great show.
It's fine, whatever.
He was lawyering while eating cheese dogs. It's awesome.
Sorry.
That's who we strive to be one day.
But I was, if you're feeling discouraged right now and you happen to be watching or listening, hear this, you can do it.
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
I was afraid he was going to say, if you're feeling discouraged, the show will get better.
Yeah, right.
The biggest battle we fight is between our ears.
Yeah,
That's true.
Yeah, the battlefield of the mind, right? I can't remember the author of that book, but
And it's a fine line, I think, between, because I critique myself all the time, all the time. And I'm very critical. But it's a fine line between that and and humility. Because I always want to be humble too. And I think that's why I maybe do it, but it's not healthy to do that. To your point. That's about your message, because chasing lions,
Chasing lion. Fight for your dreams.
Yeah.
Live for the applause of nailed-scarred hands.
And so those two things are specifically what we're talking about.
Right.
And it's very difficult, right? Especially in a field where you're trying to, your success, unfortunately, on paper, not success in here or here, your success on paper comes from trying to appeal to an audience and not necessarily appease them, but you want to appeal to them. But you know, here and here is where we need to find the success, right? We need to find that success in our hearts and our minds. And that's very difficult. It's very difficult in anything, like you were saying, like a sport, even, right? You're in front of a crowd. You want that crowd to be happy with what you're doing. Right. And so, but I think I've fallen victim to people pleasing. And this is strange because, people who have watched my content or people who know me know that I'm usually fairly brash and very confident.
No.
And I kind of do what I want to do, kind of thing. But I noticed at my last job that I went from being very brash and standing up for myself probably a little more than I should have, to just falling into a rut where I felt like I had to please the boss. I had to make sure the boss was happy with me, because the more he came down on me, at first he was on his heels with me because I was like, okay, whatever, I'll just leave today, figure it out. Like, I don't care, and then he'd say, then it was kind of a tug for the middle, right? We both wanted that dominant position, and the other one had to kind of people please. So he started out by people pleasing with me, and then it flipped. And then suddenly I realized one day, I'm like, I don't like the situation I'm in. I don't like the person I am right now. This is not me going, oh, did I do a good job today, boss? That's just not me. Usually I go and I go, yeah, it's done. Figure it out. It's great because I did it.
You know what I think the secret is I don't know how many people remember this, but remember the Tylenol scare when somebody was slipping poison into Tylenol?
Yeah.
Okay, so the president and CEO of Johnson & Johnson came to the president of the Tylenol project, and he said, did you order all of the Tylenol to be removed from the shelves and all the retail outlets? And he goes, yes. And he goes, what possessed you to do that? And he said, the mission statement. The mission statement says we will provide the highest quality, safest products, that anybody can offer. And he goes, and that's why you took it off? He goes, yeah. And he goes, good job. Good job. And so sometimes we have to be bold. I mean, I've only got one person to please now. That's it. And that makes it so much easier. It's incredibly easier. And so I understand too that if I'm going to be focused on that mission, and for me, my mission is I'm so hopelessly addicted to doing missions work and helping people. And when you see the poorest of the poor and you're able to help them in some way, you can't help everybody, but then again, the parable of the starfish story, you can only throw one in at a time. But when you realize you're doing that and that you're not going to please everybody. In fact, there was at one point when I was in the Philippines that I was in really solid danger of being abducted because the National People's Army didn't like what I was doing. But I wasn't trying to please them. And I feel like the safest place you can be is in the center of God's will. And so now it's like, I love you. I hope I can call you brother or sister, but I really don't care what you think anymore. I really don't. I'm free. I'm set free. I feel like the handcuffs have been dropped off my wrist.
Well, check this out. When you're trying to please people, it assumes they're always right.
Well, the best part of that is when he said that was after he was kidnapped and it hurt his feelings because the abductor was a people pleaser. He just let him right out.
Yeah.
He said, I'm not here to make you happy. And he's like, oh, man. I don't think he's happy with me, guys. Let him outside. Let him out of the truck.
Yeah. Doesn't matter.
You know what? We're going to donate this Jeep to your cause.
Yeah, get me out of here. Why? You didn't do it right.
Well, I ended up donating 2 rescue vehicles to the Philippines. So, wow. It's just, I saw some amazing things happen. I'm not judging other people, but when we pray, give us this day our daily bread. You and I, most of us in America, can go grab a wallet, go to the store, and buy the whole daggum shelf. But in those countries, when they pray, give us this day our daily bread, they have no clue where the next morsel of food is going to come from. And when they see it come, they attribute that to God moving in their lives. We don't see that because we saw the wallet move in our lives. Okay. And so I'm not knocking Christians, but one of the lines in that Lion Chasers Manifesto says, go after a dream that is destined to fail. You know it's going to fail unless God intervenes. And that's what I did. And I saw God move multiple times. And the relationship totally changes when you see God move in your life and you put it out there like that. And it doesn't mean it doesn't mean that you're going to be successful. Who cares? You know, would you describe Jesus as being successful? I mean, he went to a cross, he died. So much for that ministry. And I can hear Pontius Pilate going, next.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next fool who wants to claim to be, somebody or claim to be Christ, but then the resurrection happened and the power of the resurrection came. And, Jesus changed the world with just a handful of men, just a handful. He had huge crowds that came to him from time to time, but he always spent his time with Peter.
His 12 tight.
Yeah, his 12 tight. And then he had Peter, James, and John. And then his favorite was John. Okay.
Yeah. The one whom Jesus loved.
Yeah, the one whom Jesus loved. And so you look at the New Testament and look who wrote it. Well, John wrote a lot. Yeah, 1 John, 2 John, 3 John, the Gospel of John, on and on and on. And so I feel so free. And I really would like people who are listening to this tonight to feel the handcuffs drop off of their wrists. You don't have to please everybody.
Except for the people who actually are locked up.
Yeah.
Just keep them on.
Yeah, keep on.
The rest of us in society don't want you here.
If you really have handcuffs on you right now, they're there for a reason.
But find Jesus.
Yeah.
Stop it.
But yeah, the bottom line is to be set free from yourself. And that's totally changed everything. So go get them. Go get them.
Yeah, well, and when you step out in faith, you end up going from a conversation with your neighbor to 100 episodes of a podcast and building an entire company.
Exactly. That's what you did.
Yeah.
But with the help of that guy right over there next to you, Mr. McFarland, he's been big help. The guy behind that producer's booth, Sterling Metcalf Allen, the perfect producer and good friend. And I'm proud to call him brother. I'm going to try not to tear up, talk too much about it here, but
just turn the camera on.
I love you, man. And all this doesn't happen without the people that they got invested into.
Yeah.
But yes, we don't have to people please, but we can invest in other people. We can use the talents that we have to then go to other people and then say, hey, this is the thing I want to step out and boldly and do. You want to jump on board with this? Mm-hmm. And when I started hearing yeses, I knew that it had to be something beyond, it's just bigger than.
Got to be more than not just an idea, didn't it?
Yeah, got to be more than an idea.
Yeah.
And then we did it. We did an episode 1 where it was me, Alan, and my dad.
There you go.
That was who we had here. We wanted to have Louis here, but he was currently in the hospital at that point in time, and so it was a few episodes before we actually had him here in studio. We was happy once he was able to finally come here, and we've had him on for quite a few episodes. But
yeah, I hadn't even met Louis at that point.
Yeah, you hadn't even met him at that point.
I heard his voice on the recording.
Yeah,
but hadn't actually met him.
Yeah, Louis and I had pre-recorded his voice on the soundboard for a really big show.
Really big show.
And that first episode, we was like, oh well, we'll have family will watch and listen, and we'll have about 12 people, and this will just be something we do every once in a while. And
we had 8, so we had to call all of our families and be like, really? Which one didn't watch?
And then, for a first episode with a show that nobody had ever heard of before, and put it out there, and with between Facebook and YouTube and Rumble, the places that I posted, it was over 100 views and listens altogether. As a matter of fact, I think Facebook went to 142 views that very first episode. I was like, wait a minute, maybe there is something a little more to this. And so I'm just like calling everybody back. You want to do it again next week? Yeah, let's do it. So then we stirred up a second episode. Alan and I, once again, had Sterling on camera that time, and Laura was producing.
Yep.
And our good friend Bo Brummett came and brought the message that week. And I won't go through all the episodes, obviously, because that'll take forever.
Always
and
going to.
Plus, I don't remember them all.
Get
like
ready,
that.
folks.
Episode 47.
Episode 47.
But just the fact that we've been able to have a lot of really great guests. We've been able to have a lot of really great commentators come and go as they can. And not only that, but then to be able to start up other shows. I mean, because we were doing Faith, Family, Politics, and it was doing pretty well, I looked at Alan because I know he wanted to start Laughing Libertarian for some time, and I was like, "You want to do this, bro?" And
it was fun, and that was strange because it started out as a political show with like some punchy humor, and that didn't do so well. That was kind of rough. I thought that was going to get some traction, and then decided to go ahead and basically do music reviews and things like that. But I'm thankful for everybody who actually did watch those first couple episodes and watched it when it was actually like news. That was nice. Just setting up in here with a little teleprompter and trying to make that happen. Was fan. And Journey running up and down the stairs.
and our first microphone that we used for Alan because we weren't for sure how to set all this stuff up just yet. He's constantly our guinea pig.
Generally, all the new stuff ran through my show.
That's your label.
We had this little bitty shotgun mic that's supposed to be for your camera, like at a distance, and it's supposed to pick up the ambient noises, like if you're recording a video with your family get together or something. It's not really supposed to be but we used it as his microphone, and
it sounded great when there wasn't any background noise.
But yeah,
it's hard to get.
We had our ups and downs getting that up off the ground, but I think we need to revisit the idea of being able to be topical again.
Well, it was funny because we even took some of the books over here and we stacked it up so the teleprompter would be high enough to where it didn't look I was looking at a teleprompter. Because at first we just used an iPad or something. We used something. We didn't have like a teleprompter, and then I got a little teleprompter, and it's so funny because literally I can't tell you how many times I've gone to Josh, and I'm sorry, it seems unnatural when I look away from you guys. I'm just used to looking at the camera. It's so strange. It'd be like we would record on Sunday, and I'd get to him about Tuesday and say, "Hey, there's this really cool thing I want to try. Do you know how to do this?" And he's like, "I don't know, but I'll figure it out." We have until Sunday. And back then it was just this show and then my show on Sunday at the time. So Josh had some time. He had some time. Right. He used to have time.
He used to have time.
Now.
He used to have time. Yeah. And so, by the time Sunday would roll around, he'd go, "Well, I've done like 40 hours of research and I think I can pull that off." And I will tell you honestly, with a little bit of guinea pig action for like a couple hours, he always found a way. Mm-hmm. He always found a way.
Yep.
It didn't matter how crazy of an idea I had. He always found a way. If I gave him a couple days.
He's amazing.
And we've had some crazy ones. We had my body hanging from the rafters.
Yeah.
Right? Where I said something about the cleanse.
Yeah.
When I said something about the cleanse, and then suddenly it's just my feet and legs hanging from the rafters. All the way to the ones that were very questionable when, everybody had to haul me in here at gunpoint.
Yeah, we had an episode like that. Go check it out.
Yeah, it happens. But I have to say, I haven't done a show in a long time. I just don't have the time. A lot of time I just don't have the time. Editing, it just takes forever. And I will tell you guys, whenever you do a show, editing is going to be a long time, but it's well worth it. If you have the time, and even then don't hold yourselves to try to meet a deadline. Just try to put out content as you can. Because you're going to eat yourself alive thinking you're going to land this day, that day. And when this becomes your livelihood, then sure. Then this is your job, right? That's been our passion, our goal since day one. And I think if I had any advice for anybody at home, like if you want to do this, do it, like Josh said. But I'm a kind of person just beat myself up. oh man, it's got to be out on Monday. This has got to be out on Thursday. You know what? We got to do 2 shows this week. We got to do 4 shows this week. Yeah. We got to land these, and we got to strike while the iron's hot. The iron is always hot because iron sharpens iron, right? So it's always hot. You just release it when you can. And because again, you only have to appease
one person.
Yeah.
That's it.
And I mean, to go even further with encouraging others out there to do content is when I had another conversation before we actually got started, because I was looking at gear and trying to like figure out what was going to be needed, and I was consulting with a friend of mine named Matt, and I was like, well, you got any pointers you could think of that, I mean, because he's had friends in the music industry and doing YouTube and all that kind of stuff, and he was like, just put stuff out. Just put stuff out,
fires, forest fires especially.
Yes.
Just don't start them.
Because only you can prevent socialism. You're welcome. But he said, just start putting content out. And that's really what you got to do. Be authentic, be yourself. Don't worry about, like we said, like Richard said, don't worry about pleasing people. Your audience is out there. If you've got something to say and you've really got something that you can talk about, or maybe you're a musician and you want to put your music out there, whatever it is, whatever that talent is, and you want to put something out there, just start doing it. And I know that sounds like an uphill battle, but there's plenty of resources out there. I mean, the internet is boundless with information to teach you how to set up microphones and audio. And I mean, I literally learned everything from either reading something online or watching videos. That's how I learned to do anything and everything here. Sterling and I have spent countless hours together working on a lot of stuff, just trying to figure out how to work this stuff. Sometimes it was just fooling around with the equipment and seeing what worked and what didn't. And we even spend that some time, no matter how many episodes we've done, 100 now, yay. But we were trying something new out tonight. Unfortunately, it didn't work out, but we did the testing and we worked through it.
Two things didn't work out.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll make sure and play that back for Laura. My wife is so great. She went out and bought the confetti that we used for tonight. But yeah, just put stuff out there, because if you, like I said, if you got something to say, if you got something that's on your heart and you only have one person to impress, then just put stuff out there, because there's people out there that it's gonna it could change their life. You could put the one podcast or song or whatever out there that really reaches somebody, and they're all of a sudden, wow, I've been thinking about this all wrong,
It's about setting up treasures in heaven and not on earth.
Yeah.
Look, it's stuck to my finger. That's something that I also want to keep my focus on, because to your point, like the things that we're doing now, we may not ever see rewards reaped from it. Never. But if our motivation is right, pleasing the one that we should be pleasing, then our reward can be in heaven. So that's something that like I'm battling with too sometimes, but we're supposed to be focused on things in heaven and not on earth. So that's what we have to do.
Yeah. Well, it's a war of spirit and not of the flesh. Mm-hmm. And once we come to realize that, then we can start at least attempting to step into that battle. But that's always going to be a struggle, because the flesh is always pulling, because we're still human, and I'm just as flawed as anybody out there, and I will not claim to be any better than anybody, because I know that I'm not.
You're not?
Not.
I could name a few things you're better at.
I used to be better than a lot of people.
Alan's just better. That's just who he is.
It's not anymore. I got humbled last year.
It's horrible to think you're the smartest one in the room.
But what's the old saying that they and I this is the trap I fall into. They say I can't even remember how the saying goes. It's like people think that they could think that you're the smartest one in the room, but then you open your mouth and you can remove all doubt. Is that something to that effect? It's like, oh man, I don't know how many times I've said something that was maybe a little out of the way, or certainly upset somebody when I said something. It's because I have this almost no filter before I say something type of personality, and I've battled with that. I don't know, it's a battle like it's gotta get swords and shields out for it, but it's just it was one of the difficulties that I've tried to sidestep my entire life, because
words are hard.
Yeah, we talked about it last week's episode.
Exactly.
And yeah, you never know. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about it.
Oh no, we're all just gonna stare at you at this point.
Yeah.
Everybody
Episode 100, guys. Thank you.
Episode 100.
That's a segue from on out.
For everything now.
For everything.
I don't even know what time we're looking at. So
he's gonna be like, episode 100 was 4 episodes ago. Go check it out. Let's move on to the next segment.
So
it was a really cool episode.
I don't know if we're
family now.
I think we should be in the family, right?
Yeah, we kind of already, I mean, naturally.
Oh, we're done with the family now?
Naturally segued. I don't say that we're done with family. No, I mean, we got to give them a full episode, right? But what time are we looking at, Sterling? 41. Okay, yeah. So
yeah, we still got
a little
20
bit of
minutes. It's at 20 minutes.
So, Alan, you've been away for a while. We catch everybody up a little bit.
So I'm the one carrying this now.
Spotlight.
All right, it's fine.
Now we're all
Because
looking at you.
episode 100.
Bring it. Bring it.
You can do it. I believe in you. You're better than everybody.
Well, if I have to be. No. Everybody, you bring me on like, hey, Alan almost died, and now he follows Jesus, and then he just disappears. Like, for 7 months. Where's Alan? Well, did he go actually with Jesus? No, I got left here.
No, he's still here.
No,
Episode 100.
So many months, right? They're like, it's 100. I don't care what you're doing. Stop it. No, I mean, honestly, I don't shut up about basketball. So that's kind of what I've been doing. A lot of daughter plays, I coach, I train, I do all that good stuff. Kind of my little pet project is starting a training academy. So it's not really faith-based because, it's kind of touchy with the general population, with Gen Pop, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And they happen to pay the bills. So
hey, you kind of need them to pay the bills occasionally.
Yeah.
So, but when I do coach, though, I do coach at a church, and we do have devotion and things like that. So it's actually really nice. Until I have to have that devotion, I got the handicap of having someone who is very, very Christian my first season coaching. And so it was great because he was my assistant coach. And I was like, hey, I'm great at basketball. I'm not great with God. So if I teach us the X and O's and we win games, can you lead devotion? Because that would be great. And then, so this last season was great because I actually got to lead devotion myself and sit down and, I've been studying the Bible and such. And so it was kind of nice to sit down, understand what I'm reading, understand what we're talking about, and functionally have a conversation with the children, ask questions and have the answers up here. It wasn't like, it wasn't like Sunday school when I was a kid where they're like, remember, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no. I'm here 3 times in 4 years. It's Easter. What do you want from me?
You're a creaster.
My grandpa and grandma.
This is only episode 3.
Grandpa and grandma, right? They just came and said, here's a basket. You have to go to church. And I'm like, well, if I have to do this for the basket,
you're a creaster.
I'm doing it for the basket.
You're a creaster. Christmas and Easter.
I didn't make it Christmas either.
Yeah, see?
You did come to an Easter service when we were kids at my grandmother's church. Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
I remember going with you guys, and we ended up we didn't have to go to Sunday school, I don't think.
No.
We stayed in the pew the whole time.
Yes.
That was hard. That was very hard.
You often find yourself asking the pastor if he's always stuck on the same subject.
Can we move to something else?
Can we move to something besides the resurrection and the birth of Jesus? I mean, don't you have anything else?
Back then I'm like,
This guy was born, he died, he came back.
I go to school, they do math and do English, we do science. Can we get to the evolution part?
Well, if you attend next week, you might have a chance.
But I will say though, it was wonderful being able to sit down and they give us kind of some things to talk about. They give us some talking points during our devotion. They don't leave us out there like, all right, you're building on the minds and souls and spirits of these children. Make it happen. They don't do that. Probably because they wouldn't trust all of us. But
It's another story.
Whether it's Tylenol or not, you got to make sure your product is consistent, right? So they would give us kind of a script, sort of, kind of.
Yeah.
And it was
Bullet
great.
points.
Huh?
Bullet points.
Yeah. So, I mean, depending on what side of town you're on. What am I talking about? We live in a Democratic run city.
They could be hollow points.
There's bullet points everywhere.
Or they could be hollow points.
But
They don't mean anything. Hollow points.
exactly. So it was it was actually great having those conversations and being able to go, all right, kids, like let's bring it in a little bit. Let's you're talking about, or I actually had one girl, like literally when I'm talking about doing the devotion, we've gone through like 7 weeks, and she just looks at me and goes, I really don't think I believe in God. And I'm like, oh, like how do I approach this? Right. I've got one girl, we've gone this far into this whole situation and things. It's not a requirement for them to be Christian to be there. So, I'm the kind of person, as much as people probably think I'm overbearing and impose on people just for my general personality, I am a libertarian. So I'm a live and let live person. And I'm like,
I'm more like you.
I want you to be on this team. I want you to be over here because I care about you. But I also respect the fact that you need to work through it, because I'm 40 years old, and I had thoughts at 37, 38. And then, I finally just kind of, I don't know, this pressure.
You're welcome.
Two of my longest
How old
friends.
are you?
I'm 40 now.
For our audio listeners, Richard just waved
Twiddled
his finger.
twiddled his finger.
Whoop-de-doo.
But I'm just saying, it took,
Takes a while.
even with my two closest friends who I've known since I was in single digits, one from the first day of kindergarten, both of them being Christian the entire time, their families all being Christian and such. They would go to church on Sunday, and I would just ride my bike and wait for them to get home. And it didn't bother me. And as I got older, I was like, I went through a whole phase of believing in nothing to believing in God, but not really subscribing to Jesus, to just all these different things, right? But I was going the right way. I was following the right path.
There was a trajectory.
I just had to get to the destination, right?
Yeah.
And so, they like to think, I guess. I'm not going to say I'd like to think, because that makes them even happier. So I'll say they would tell you that they had a lot to do with that. But I really just think that I just learned to respect all the gifts of life and of everything we have in this wonderful world. So those guys, whatever. But yeah, that's pretty much what I've been doing with my time.
Let them think that.
Yeah, well, whatever. I don't want them to,
You're libertarian. Let it be.
Well, I could tell you this, Alan, and to that point about you. I told you it was going to be an eventuality. That's what I'd say that episode after episode. So this guy's going to get saved, but I told you so. No, but when Don and I was able to reconnect after many years of not actually really hanging out, we was friends on Facebook. That was about the extent of it. I mean, we were friends when we were kids and stuff, but being able to reconnect as adults, and then through this, and him and I had conversations it's like, you know what? I pray for Alan, you pray for Alan. Let's pray for Alan together. And so that was every time he's been here, you're one of the names that we together we pray together. Those are two or more gathered in my name, right? So, and it's like, well, you can go back to your family. Your whole family's going to pray, and then I'm going to go back to my family. We're all going to pray, and then Louis, when he went back to pray. I know Sterling went back to pray. You had a lot of people pulling for you.
And then they made God work in mysterious ways by destroying my appendix and then really putting me on my back foot, right? Like, what could I do, right? Like, I was already like 90% there, but they were like, hey, God's going to work in mysterious ways and just put him down.
It's like
just
hostage kind of stuff.
Yeah,
right?
and then he can't get away. He's in a bed, right? So like, what? Now we can just pound him. Like we can just really, the power of Christ compels you straight into Christianity. Like, what was I supposed to do? What was I supposed to do? It was compelling, okay? I wasn't going anywhere. I couldn't sit up.
You know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of you can never run away from God. You're either running toward his mercy or you're running toward his wrath.
That's fair. That's a fair statement.
You ran face first into that wrath, buddy.
I did. He's
or appendix first.
Sit
Face
down.
planted
We need
in
to
it.
talk. Well, I'm here. I got nothing but time. Let's talk. Thanks for the time, by the way. I didn't think I had. They told me I didn't have it. You gave it to me. Now I'll listen.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
But that's
Part 2 is yours.
right. And it wasn't. That was one of those situations where it was just. I waited till I knew I was in the clear. If you guys saw those episodes, I didn't want to do it like deathbed confession. Like, please go ahead, baptize me as I'm, completely not in here. Yeah, no, it's not like that. I waited till I was in the clear, and I'm like, okay, cool. I'm on the other side. Let's talk. Appreciate you. Thank you for getting me here. But let's go ahead and have this conversation now. But anyway, yeah. So my time gone has been literally just 6 days a week basketball. It's been daunting. I really hate hearing a basketball bounce, and I hate to hear sneakers squeak, but it has become my life, and I haven't had any time to try to produce any content, and I'm sorry about that. That's awful.
It'll come.
It will, and I've honestly wanted to produce like training content, things like that, but I really want to try to find a balance. But yeah, that's the long and short of it. Every day of every minute of every day of every week has just been nothing but trying to seek fulfillment from training kids, make them better, and help them live out their passions and things. And that's
when it comes to basketball sneakers, I don't think I'll ever buy a set of sneakers again from a drug dealer because I don't know what he laced them with, but I keep tripping everywhere.
Nice. That was great. That was actually solid. That was really, really solid.
He's been building up a few dad jokes, and
he's overflowing. He's like, I gotta let him out. Gotta let one out.
Tied him up in a nice, neat bow for you.
Like as soon as the door opened, and the front door opened when he was coming in, it just like 4 of them fell out.
Yeah, I did fall out.
Yeah, he did. Yes, he did. And that's when the jokes rolled out too.
Yeah. Crack my head open, see what comes out. Dad jokes everywhere.
That wouldn't be a pinata, it'd be a pinhaha.
Love it. Smack me upside the head, see what happens.
That's great.
Well, I think.
Did I fill 20 minutes? I didn't
know.
fill 20 minutes.
We're on to politics?
That wasn't 20 minutes.
How far? Oh, yeah. We got a few more minutes. Okay. Well, Richard, I know that you had quite an experience with all the work you got to do in the Philippines. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Was it the Philippians or the Philippines?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know.
I don't know where you did your work.
I don't know. Well, I had 3 stops there.
The Philippians?
It just,
Bless you.
There's you really don't have enough time for me to tell you about all the miracles that happened there, but it was amazing, absolutely amazing. I got there, and my only goal at stop number 1 was to feed the indigenous people, put some shoes on them, some clothes, and call it a day. And I had a whole week designed to do that. Well, that happened and far more. We actually were able, the leadership of the barangay there, and the barangay is like a township office. Think of it like that, only smaller. But it's a small governmental unit. And Maylin was the...
I was afraid when you said barangay, I thought maybe he called you the white guy.
Yeah. I'm the wrong guy, barangay.
No, he's the skin guy. Skinny and brawny.
Nice.
So I went there, and they said, well, why are you here? The leaders did, before we met with the indigenous people. And I said, well, the Lord Jesus Christ called me to come and help the people of the Philippines. And perhaps, if given the opportunity, I'd like to share the gospel. But my main goal is, number 1, is to discover a need. What is the one thing that I could provide that would change everything for the people here? Number 2, go back, sell houses. Number 3, come back with the funds and make it happen. And this guy raises his hand. He said, well, sir, we have a budget for a rescue vehicle. And I said, oh, really? Why? Why do you need one to help me, show me? And he said, well, our closest hospital is in Isilon, which is 2.5 hours from where I just came from Isilon to meet with them. And it was the bumpiest, rockiest, craggiest, mountainous pass you've ever been on. I mean, worse than Ace Ventura bouncing around in the Rover. I mean,
we dug into the thesaurus for that.
Oh, man.
He was in the thesaurus.
We bounced so hard that we actually ejected out of the back seat, hit our heads on the ceiling, came back down. That's how rough this road was. And I said, so that's the closest hospital. He goes, yeah. And I said, well, what do you have budgeted for it? And he told me in pesos, we have 30,000 pesos, sir. And it's 57 to 1. So I already figured out what that was in U.S. dollars, but I wanted to get that confirmed because I couldn't believe what I was hearing in my own mind. It's about $615. And so I said, what kind of vehicle can you get for $615? I can go over that. And he goes, a used one, sir. And everything's there, sir and ma'am. It's really cool. And so I said, well, first off, I said, you're funded on the 615. I said, however, Jesus always gets the best. And so let's go shopping tomorrow. Let's find a dealership and go shopping. I said, where's the closest dealership? And he said, General Santos City, where I was staying, which is 5 hours away. And so we went there, and they're so kind. They're sweet people. They were unassuming. They're picking out junk. And so he goes, well, what's your budget, sir? And I go, well, at least 150,000 pesos, which is about $3,000. And so I looked and saw this truck. It was a 4-door with a flatbed. They need also the rescue vehicle to go pick up supplies. The mayor there is very, very kind. And so they pick up supplies and bags of rice to feed the indigenous people. So it's a dual purpose kind of a thing. And so I saw this 4-door one that was perfect. You could get a stretcher in the back just fine, a whole 9 yards. And I snuck over to the dealer. I said, how much for this one over here? And he goes, well, sir, that's 320,000 pesos. And I said, with a light kit, a siren, and a PA system says, get out of the way of those little track bikes. And he goes, I'll be right back. And he goes, 685,000 pesos, sir, or 385,000 pesos, which is about $6,600. And so I grabbed the leader of the brown guy who was looking at junk. I said, come here. He said, what about this one over here? He goes, oh, sir, that would be amazing. And I looked at the dealer and said, make it happen. And so in the process of doing that, the mayor of the district in Palembang found out what I was doing. And my guide, Maylin, said, you've got a meeting with the officials of the mayor's office. And I'm like, Richard Greenfield, would you please come to the principal's office? I'm like, she was, it'll be okay. I said, yeah, they discovered me. So then about half an hour later, she goes, yeah, that's changed. You still have a meeting with the officials from the mayor's office? This is like having a meeting with Hogsett. Okay, that's how hard it would be to get that meeting. She says, but you also have a meeting with the mayor himself, and it's at his home.
Oh, wow.
And so I didn't realize I was talking to a bunch of Muslims, okay? I just was professing Christ to a bunch of Muslims. Some of them are Christian, about 50-50. Yeah. And so I'm at the mayor's house, and why are you here? And I said, well, because the Lord Jesus Christ called me to, and I'm talking to a Muslim, and I don't know it. And it's just like in The Godfather, I didn't know who it was with, okay? And so anyway, he went from calling me Richard to friend to brother. And at the end of my presentation with him, he said, you know what? You worship God, I worship Allah. It's the God of love. Allah and you, we are both serving the God of love. And I said, okay. And then he said, what are you doing later tonight? And I looked over at Maylin and said, we got any plans for tonight? She goes, no. He goes, would you stay for dinner with my family? Oh, man, I said, sure will. And so he looked over at his associates and he says, make a bunch of American food. And I go, no, sir, make Philippine food. So he said, you want Philippine food? I said, traditional Philippine food. I said, I can get American food anytime. And so he goes, okay. So this huge table, I mean, this table is probably 20 feet long. It looked like it was set up for Thanksgiving with a bunch of Philippine food. And there's only like 6 or 7 of us at the table. Okay, go figure. And there was that little bowl of eggs beside me. And I knew this was coming at some point in my trip. It's called bulat. And bulat is you take a duck, You fertilize the egg, you let the embryo grow halfway, and then you boil it, and then you eat it. Look at her face. It's not as bad as it sounds. You pop the top up, drink the juice, tastes just like chicken noodle soup. And when you eat the inside of it, it tastes like a hard-boiled egg with a little piece of chicken liver with it. That's what it tastes like. So, but the texture of the yolk was a little rubbery. Anyway, I digress. So he said, there's another man sitting there at the table, and he said, hey, this is so-and-so from this other barangay, and next month they're going to get a rescue vehicle. And I said, why not tomorrow? He goes, what? I go, why not tomorrow? Because I saw 2 white trucks. And so I was able to get that for him. God just opened doors and opened doors. The second trip was to the northern part of Mindanao Island, which, by the way, Mindanao Island is probably the most dangerous island any white boy can be on, because the National People's Army, as a communist insurgency group, they'll come and take you because you're white, you're rich, and they're going to hold you for ransom. And so at one point, I was literally whisked away when I was at the barangay Barangay Baluan. They actually threw my bags in the car and said, get in, we're going. Because I was planning on spending the night. And I go, what's up? And she goes, you just need to get in the car. And this guy started scraping his fingers up and down the car. It was pretty creepy. But anyway, so we got out of there. And so I met with the mayor. That was the most successful part of the trip, was the first leg of it. The second leg, I was able to go on a medical mission trip, which included buying... Josh, I'm going to ask you to do some calculation in your mind, okay?
Math is not my strong suit.
Or just anybody here. I want you to do some calculations, okay? I'm going to rent 2 medical doctors for a day, 4 medical licensed nurses, and I'm going to buy, for 200 indigenous peoples, I'm going to buy prescription meds and supplements. How much?
Sounds like a lot. Sounds like it'd be a lot of money.
How much do you think? Just guess. What would you pay for that here?
Oh, what would you pay that for that here?
Here?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that would be,
$150,000?
Like 500,000.
Yeah, it would be-
500 plus, okay. $905. Okay, so the prices there are totally different. And so we were able to do a medical mission trip there. I helped a young man with his dialysis. I helped another man, a young lady with severe blood disease. I was able to get medicines for her. The third stop was up on Luzon, the main island, and this is all what started it. My buddy John, I hadn't seen since 1995. His name kept bouncing in my head. Now tell me that wasn't God. Why would somebody's name pop in my head 20 years after the last time I saw him? But anyway, so he and his wife are starting a church literally outside their house, and we doubled the size of the footprint of that church over there. Added onto it and doubled the size of the footprint. So. And there's so many more things I could fill in between.
Like footprints in the sand?
Footprint of the
whole building? The whole
building.
building. Not just didn't put the footprints in the sand?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. I did put some footprints in the sand here and there. But
see if there's another set next to you.
Oh, my gosh, the calamari. Who likes calamari? Okay.
Fantastic.
I got this Maylin, my guide.
Is a ring of calamari that big?
Yes, they were that big. They look like onion rings from Edwards Drive-In, Wow. I mean, they were huge like this. And it's like, and she goes, that's not onion rings, that's calamari. And I go, ooh, yum. So, but anyway, so a lot of other interesting things. I was at Del Monte looking at all the pineapples in their plantation there. So there's all kinds of things that happen there. But here's the bottom line. I went after a dream that was destined to fail without divine intervention. And I told God at the point that I felt like this could be a mission trip, how impossible it was for me to go.
It was Mission Impossible?
It was Mission Impossible. Mission Impossible. He said Mission Probable, but I said Mission Impossible. And so...
Did you hang from any ceilings?
Yeah. Man, I'll tell you.
He had to get Tom Cruise out of the way because he's a Scientologist, so...
That's fair.
Yeah.
Man, I'll tell you. But I encourage anybody that's hearing my voice right now, go after a dream that's destined to fail without divine intervention. See what God will do for you. It's amazing. Josh, we're here because of your dream.
Yep.
So
it was collective. I mean, like I said, I had the conversation with Sterling, and then that dream became bigger and bigger and bigger. So
there you go.
And after hearing those yeses,
I mean, nightmares are dreams too.
Yeah.
So I was always here just to be his nightmare.
And one last
well, if it was all good, it would be boring.
Right.
One last thing I'd
A
like
little
to
spice in.
I'd like to mention too. There was something that happened in the Philippines that I totally totally did not expect. I was open to it, but I didn't expect it. I found treasure in the Philippines. Hang on. Oh, wrong thing. I'll see if I'll show you a picture of the treasure I found in the Philippines.
The may not translate to camera, but you can show it to us here in the studio.
Hang on, I'll do my best. Hang on, I gotta find it. Okay, yep, found it. Okay, so I said to the Lord, I being older like I am, I'm like, I'll do single till I die. I can do that. But if I ever get married again, I want somebody that's on my shoulder, working ministry with me, working my work with me, working everything with me, right on my shoulder. I don't want somebody sitting at home waiting for me. I don't want somebody to be the chief cook and bottle washer in my house. I want her to be on my shoulder, and we end the yoke. The Bible says don't be unequally yoked. But what does it look like to be equally yoked? Mm-hmm. And working together, shoulder to shoulder. And so God asked me a question while I was there in the first leg of the journey. He said, you said that. And he goes, there she is. And her name is Maylin. And this is Maylin.
Aw.
That's awesome.
Sweet.
So we're working on our K1 visa, marriage visa. I don't know if you can see it from,
Camera's not going to be able to pick it up.
But we're working on our K1 visa. And it's the 90-day marriage visa. If you ever saw 90-day fiance, same thing. But it's going to take 14 months. So we got another 14 to 18 months to go before that happens. And she'll be here. You thought she was going to come tonight.
Yeah, well, I didn't know how soon she was.
Well, just send her to Mexico. Let her come through the border.
Yeah, no kidding. No, I want it to be legal.
We can worry about that later. That's the whole point.
One of the couples in the 90-day fiance did that, and she got deported.
Oh, really?
Yeah, right back to France.
She would get like all kinds of free stuff, and if she goes to New York, they give her a $10,000 debit card.
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah,
nice.
Which then you could take back there and donate the $10,000.
And you could stay in the Roosevelt Hotel
there you go.
for free.
There you go.
Which you've probably never been to.
Or the Plaza.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Plaza Hotel.
How about the Plaza?
Yeah,
Pretty soon it could be Trump Tower. I'm just saying.
Well, the Plaza Hotel is owned by Trump. Mm-hmm. That's one of his properties. And
for now,
just trying to find a way. Yeah, just trying to find a way.
Yeah, somebody sent me the picture of the Trump airplane with a boot on the front tire.
They're trying to take everything away, aren't they?
Yeah, they're
Speaking
trying.
of politics, let's go into that portion, shall we?
Yes.
First article coming tonight from the Daily Fetch, and as I've mentioned in the past, yes, that is the name of the publication. It's just what it is. So deal with it. But we do like them because they put out some good stories. Sometimes this one happens to be quite funny. It says, Biden wanders off stage mid-event after spotting a baby. He says, I couldn't resist. Why couldn't you resist, buddy? Former Vice President Joe Biden abruptly wandered off stage during an event this week in Phoenix, Arizona, after spotting a baby in the crowd. As Biden's campaign manager was introducing him at a Mexican diner, Biden suddenly walked off stage in front of confused onlookers. When he returned, Biden said, well, folks, I have to tell you straight up, I like you all, but I couldn't resist that little baby.
Confused onlookers? I think they were the least confused in that room.
Biden reportedly asked the baby's mother, how old?
She said 35 and stop touching my husband.
Biden pulled a face at the baby as the mother appeared to look a little tense. Yeah, I would be too if he was standing close to my child. During the event, Biden took shots at likely election opponent Donald Trump. He only cares about the wealthy, he said. Biden claimed at the event. The rest of Biden's appearance was an embarrassing slurfest, unlike the way I'm reading this now, aided by the usual battle with the teleprompter. He does have like full-on, battles with the teleprompter. However, the real reason behind Biden's Mexican dinner at the diner was that Trump led him 39% to 34% among Hispanic voters, and I think that number is a little low for Trump, because I know that those numbers are a lot higher with Hispanic voters, almost to a T. According to USA Today, Suffolk University poll released that in January, so that those numbers that I gave you is what that's from.
He is to tequila.
Maybe. Biden is also losing the Hispanic vote to 40% to 46%, according to a New York Times Siena College poll. Biden's popularity among minorities has become almost non-existent as it becomes more evident Biden is nothing more than a puppet for the globalist agenda. Thank you to the Daily Fetch for that nice little article. What does everybody think about him wandering off stage to go see a baby in the middle of everything?
Okay, I'm going to be the devil's advocate. If it's a cute baby, it's a cute baby. I think he probably was trying to win some brownie points. You know, every politician is supposed to kiss the baby, right? So
Sometimes I think that too. Like I think both sides can sensationalize things to make a point. That one isn't that big a deal to me because of what he said. That's where my head went to.
See where I went to.
But I don't like him, and I think he's, does creepy things with kids.
Yeah.
So
I think, and obviously it's speculation, but if I were on his staff in any way, shape, or form, how would I approach it, knowing that he is in cognitive decline or well beyond what he should be, where he should be to be in front of the American people? I would have a baby there. In that way, when he starts to falter, he has a go-to. I would give him something to draw his attention. He would know, obviously they would know, but it would be some way kind of a soft reset.
Yep.
And so maybe it was a distraction.
So like you would Lion King it from the back of the room, just like, that's
Like,
a win,
oh, look, it's a baby. Right? Like,
except for her mom, the baby's mom would have known.
well, I'm
and
saying
she was,
I wouldn't be
freaked
holding the
out
baby.
by it.
No, I'd just be like, hey, look, there's a baby there. And hey, by the way, and that way, it's just if you start to stumble, you start to fail or whatever, that can buy us 2, 3, 4 minutes. It'll allow you to gain your composure as much as Biden can.
He's still failing. Bring in the ice cream. Bring in the ice cream.
Yeah,
I
right.
know, I was like, why not just? It'd be easier to just have an ice cream bar.
Right.
I mean,
You guys have some great ice cream here. And then you have to.
some fried ice cream.
I don't know. I think we're all of us are being too sensitive. I mean, on both sides of the fence, and I'm like, I don't see anything wrong with it. I just see that there's a spin that was put to it, the activity. But I'd have to witness it to see if it was creepy or if it was just.
Well, the video that's on X, formerly Twitter, he's standing there and he's just kind of swaying his arms beside him, and then they're getting ready to announce him to go up to talk, and then instead of him going up to talk, he just wanders off like it looked like he's lost, but it's just a few seconds, so you really don't get a full context of what was happening anytime before or anytime after. So it is just a clip, and so I give you that. But that being said, if you know that you're about to be announced to speak, yes,
That would be a little rude.
Yeah, it's
I guess
it's off-putting.
I guess what you're saying is like if he was standing greeting the crowd and then saw a baby in the crowd, I get it.
Yeah.
Precisely. Like, oh, hey, you're out there, you're with the people. And then suddenly you're like, oh my God, look at that little baby. Right? Like, that'd be one thing to just kind of stop and go, hold on. I got to see this cute little baby right here or something, I don't know. Like I said, if I worked for him, I would put things in there that was socially acceptable like that in order to buy time for when he would stumble. But hey, I don't work for that administration. I'll never work for that administration. And obviously nobody who works for that administration is as smart as I am. So it's okay.
We all work for that administration. We pay taxes.
That's true. That's true. We're not going to talk about last year and whether I paid my taxes.
And work. And work.
Speaking of money, that lead us into our second article of the night coming from the Washington Examiner. Alan, you're going to love this one here.
Of course.
The Fed projects higher interest rates and higher inflation for longer.
Josh.
Who could have foreseen that?
No,
Yeah.
I don't really see why they would want to keep putting clamps. Actually, you know what? How do you feel about that, sir?
Yeah,
I
I just got a Facebook post that I'm going to look up. So you keep talking while I find that. Facebook
absolutely.
Okay, I'm going to read this
I'll
article.
tell you exactly how I feel about it.
For all the investors, hopefully it's clean. For all the investors flip-flopped and flipped again in the past 6 months of speculation future interest rates, the Federal Reserve has remained remarkably consistent, I guess. In a total confirmation of its previous projection from the end of 2023, the first summary of economic projections from the central bank in 2024 likewise predicts just 3 cuts to federal funds rate this year, with the Fed holding rates at the 23-year high of the 5.25% to 5.5% range.
Which I can't find anywhere.
Right? But even though the Fed still projects higher interest rates for longer, it made one crucial modification to its projections: even higher inflation for longer. Really? You think? In December, the Fed predicted the median core PCE inflation for 2024 would fall to 2.4%, just shy of its 2% goal. But now it predicts a 2024 median of 2.6%, and whereas it considers its low unemployment rate projection even more broadly balanced than it did in December, the Fed now sees upside risk to inflation projections. While the Fed remains committed to approaching its 2% median inflation target in the next 2 years, not one member contributing to March's SEP believes inflation will do so this year.
Okay, so you asked me the question. How do I feel about it?
How do you feel about that, sir?
Okay. In 1971, the interest rate for a mortgage was 7.33%. If you waited for interest rates to go down, you wouldn't have purchased a home until 1993. You would have rented for 22 years, waiting for rates to go down. Meanwhile, the value of real estate quadrupled. Don't wait to buy real estate. Buy real estate. Buy real estate and wait. Marry the house. Date the rate.
Okay.
Date the rate. So I sold houses when the interest rates were 25%.
Right. But as a homeowner who looks at what my 4% is on property value from 15 years ago, and I look at another property I want to gain 300 square feet, I'm adding $120,000 of debt because the property value. But then because I have to pay 7% or 6 point something percent, I'm paying an additional $400 to $500 a month in order to be able to marry that house.
What's the difference between the price of your house now and the price of the house you're buying?
The difference is going to be about $160,000.
Okay, so $160,000 quadruples over 20 years. Is it still worth it?
If it's going to quadruple, we're talking, and you
good.
said 20 years?
Yeah.
I've seen a doubling effect, not a quadrupling effect.
You will in that amount of time, because if you add 4% compounded yearly to that amount, you'll see if that's worth it.
If you can afford the payment, though, it doesn't really matter. I can want $1 million vehicle, but can I afford do I have the credit to get it? Maybe, but can I afford the payment?
But $1 million vehicle
it's going to depreciate. Yes,
it depreciates,
absolutely.
but a house doesn't.
Right, but if you can't afford the payment on the house, it doesn't really matter. So
well, yeah,
if the Fed prices you out of the market, you can't really do anything with it.
Yeah, you never want to buy a house that you can't afford. But
those houses anyone can afford are short in supply.
But let me say, as the interest rate goes up, what happens to the price of a house?
Well, the reason why the Fed is pushing the interest rate is because they want to open up the housing market. But as they've shown, and what they're actually saying is the housing market hasn't actually slowed and employment hasn't slowed down either. Therefore, they have to apply more interest over a longer period of time because they can't break people from buying houses.
Okay, but you didn't answer my question.
I did actually. The idea is that if you jack up the interest rate and you raise the payment to where people can't afford it, they won't do it. And then therefore the housing market, actually the housing prices have to drop.
Yes.
Right. But the problem is they're specifically saying, because that's not happening, because they've been projecting this for 4 years, because it hasn't happened, they have to prolong this. And so it's just punishing people who are buying things in hopes that people will stop buying things, which is horrible for the economy.
Yes.
To try to drop the value of something to make people buy again, because they're saying the average person can't afford the house. But the average person is just stretching and saying, okay, well, I guess I'll just throw myself in debt and hopefully at some point the interest rate will go down and I'll refinance.
The unfortunate thing right now in the real estate industry is that there's a lack of housing.
Right.
There's
Absolutely.
not enough. There's not enough inventory.
Which is why they're prolonging this.
Right. And so what happens is you have people that are sitting there at 3%. They don't want to sell.
Right.
Okay. But if they see the difference in the interest rate they're going to pay for what they're getting over a process of time, and then realize when the interest rates drop, they can refinance, then they're leveraging the value of the home against the future value, okay, and they're leveraging that against the dollars they're paying today, which tomorrow, if the interest rates do drop, they're fine. If the interest rates don't drop at all or even increase, okay, then they're still leveraging the house. In other words, they still get that increased value as they make their principal and interest payments. The equity is growing even more because you're dropping your amount that you owe. Okay, so you have a double increase effect. Inflation of the house itself over a process of time, and then you have more equity because you've paid down the balance. What's really crazy, and what people don't understand is why would I be sitting at 6% and refuse to refinance at 3%? Why would I do that?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah, there's not really a reason.
Okay.
Well, unless you're only going to own the property for a short period of time, and then in which case you don't want to incur the extra. I mean, because honestly, I went to refinance and they were like, it's $2,500 to refinance, and I'm like, what if I'm not here in a year? I've not reaped any benefit from that.
Okay. The reason why the banker wants you to refinance, even at a lower rate, is because they're resetting the amortization schedule where you're paying more interest in the first years of that loan than you are at the end.
Right.
The reason why I chose not to do it is because most of my payment was going toward principal now.
Right.
So it wouldn't help me to refinance from 6 to 3 because I would reset the amortization schedule and start paying interest only.
See, for me, it would have helped because I would have shortened the time frame and lowered the payment.
And what about
we did it because we consolidated other loans into it.
Oh, makes sense.
Yep.
What about let's say you got a single mother out there, Taco Bell's the only job she's got, if she's lucky to even get that, and she can only work at part-time. She's trying to take care of 3 kids, and she knows she needs a house, and rent's pretty much taking all of her paycheck, and she has to choose. And she has to choose between.
He's been.
You got your client.
We're connected,
list.
remember?
The client list.
Yeah, and she's trying to pay her rent and choosing between a lot of times between the rent and being able to feed the 3 kids that's in the house, and trying to make all that work, and this being prolonged and inflation on top of that inflation, because like Alan has so put it in the past, like inflation hurts everybody because it makes your dollar worth less. It's not that
it makes things cost more.
It's that your dollar's worth less.
It's that your dollar is actually worth less.
And because of that, people don't realize it.
Yeah, they think that the $10.
That's what we just talked about on the podcast we taped Wednesday night.
Yep.
You got $10, it's worth $7 now.
Yeah, it's not. It's not that the chocolate bar is $2.50.
Right.
It's that your dollar's worth 70
cents because you have 10 $1 bills. So I got a 10.
Well, here's what's really cool about housing, though, is my payment is, you're gonna laugh at me, but my payment's like $690 a month. Okay, but back when I got that loan, holy cow, that's almost my whole paycheck. But now, what do you think about $690 a month for 4,000 square feet? Mm-hmm. Actually, no, it's 2,600 square feet. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well, imagine this, Richard. If you own a property, you're not currently living in it. It's a property that you own, and then squatters come in and take over that property.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
That's going to lead us into our third article of the night, coming from the New York Post.
100 episodes. 100 episodes.
100 episodes. Here we go.
Vigilantes try to evict squatters at a $1 million Queens house after homeowner who confronted them is arrested in tense standoff. So not only were there squatters in her home, but she goes to get them out, and the cops arrest her for trying to get them out.
Welcome to America.
Mm-hmm.
A pair of vigilantes allegedly tried to forcefully evict 3 alleged squatters from a $1 million Queens home after the homeowner was arrested when she changed the locks and tried to remove the squatters. 2 unidentified men driving a black pickup truck pulled into the driveway of the Flushing home, searching for the tenants Tuesday afternoon, according to the Daily Mail.
One with a Trump shirt on, mind you.
Oh,
it doesn't say that, but I saw
one of those guys.
Yeah. Like, yes.
He said, "We are looking out to get this. We were looking to get this guy out." One of the men allegedly said. A neighbor told the outlet, "I am here to talk to him. I want to see why he is here." Adele Andalaro, age 47, was in the process of selling the property when the group shadily took refuge in the home last month. Andalaro inherited the $1 million property from her parents after they had passed. So it's tough enough to know that both of your parents have passed, but then, now you're inheriting a property and you've got to sell that and have to basically drudge back out through those emotions again, and you've got somebody squatting there.
So what's your question?
We'll get to that.
So many things.
She confronted the trio and changed the locks in hopes that they would not be able to re-enter if they left. However, a male inside the home called the police on Andalaro, who was later arrested. Neighbors have noticed some concerning activity in the house since the alleged squatters snaked their way into the home. Obviously, if they're illegally entering the home and taking it over,
so
they're probably not up to any good.
Well, not really, because part of the law in New York, this is a New York law that's allowing this, that just changed recently. And the guy that moved in went viral on TikTok talking about it and telling other people how to do it, because his friends have done it with 7 other houses right now. Mm-hmm. Okay, so the law in New York supposedly is...
This particular home was a white guy that squatted.
Yeah, you're talking about another video, but I know exactly what video you're talking
but there is another guy.
He said he was going to come do it. Yeah.
He's Venezuelan.
Yeah.
The guy that you're talking about.
Yeah, but there is a law in New York, and part of it is that in order to stay there legally as a squatter, you have to pretend like you're the owner. So you have to do repairs on the house. So the report I read tonight was that they were bringing in construction materials per a neighbor and working on construction all night. She saw him carry a door in and things like that. And they're doing that because that second part of that law that gives them the right to be there requires them to do repairs.
Yeah, so they said they literally are just going to force their way into the homes, take the homes, repair them and flip them.
Yeah.
Take your home and flip it.
And make the money or sublease it.
So could you imagine that? Could you imagine you own a place. You're not currently living there. It's a property that you've purchased. Someone comes in and they have a door painted for $50. They got the receipt showing that it was done at that address. Now they live there, in air quotes. And now they go through and sell that property.
They can't sell it.
That's underneath that New York law. They could not obviously not in Indiana,
because
but they could in New
take
York.
possession of it technically through this squatter's law.
I don't think that gives them ownership rights, though. It wouldn't in Indiana. I don't know about
it.
New York.
Does.
Yeah, and in New York now, because of this new law, it does. And
I would never want to leave my house. Could you? You'd be so terrified to leave your house because someone could just
gone on vacation. You're done.
Yeah.
You come back and have.
We talked before we came tonight. We got plans.
Well, so I had a friend who was buying her first house. And they went and looked at it, closed on it. Everything was good, right? And the next day she was starting to move everything. She was going to come move everything in. Literally, everything was good. They did a final walkthrough. The next day she shows up. Her door's been kicked in overnight, and she's got squatters living in her house. Now, of course, this was 2008, 2007, somewhere around there.
Is it local?
At that time, yeah. At that time, the police came right there and was like, get out of the house.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, you know what you're doing.
Right.
Get out of the house. Now, they couldn't, of course, hold anybody responsible for fixing the door, so she had to fix the door in her brand new house she just bought. She just signed off on. But
it's called insurance.
Right. It sucks. You know what I'm saying? It's a front door of your home. You're moving your things in. It's bashed in, right? And so now you need it fixed ASAP. You don't want to put your things in. It's just crazy to think that. Yeah, and the fact that he made that video saying, hey, this is what you do. And they said, a lot of times it's just as easy as taking out a cell phone, like going to the store, get a cell phone, get the billing address switched to that home, and then having an email the bill to you so they never actually physically receive a bill so they don't know you're doing it. And then now you're like, I have a bill that goes to that house. I have a bill that goes to that property.
Mm-hmm.
That is...
You're establishing residency.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And you never have them physically send a bill. You have them just email it to you. But you have an address on it showing that you've established this over the course of 30 days or 90 days or 60 days or whatever the law says you have to establish residence. And that's nuts.
I mean, New York has to
They don't care. They don't care.
I don't understand why they're trying to destroy that state and city.
Well, the thing is, they don't have to buy.
I don't understand.
I don't understand it because they don't have to buy votes. They have the votes. It's like doing this in Chicago, right?
Right.
You don't need to do this in Chicago. You know, Republicans don't even run in Chicago.
Right.
Literally, elections come down to 2 or 3 Democrats running for the same spot. Republicans don't even try to run there. So destroying you don't need to change anything. Obviously, everybody's happy with the way it goes. It's how much you're going against people with the same values as you.
Yeah, I can't remember where it was, but there were 2 Somalians Democrats running against each other, and a Democrat, and it's like it was who could out Democrat the other one, and they were and both of them only spoke in the whatever language they speak in Somalia. I don't know what that language is. I guess Somalian.
Yeah, we'll just say that.
But
we don't
it was definitely not English. I know that, and I mean, not to tell everybody that they have to speak the language, but if you're running for an office.
To appeal to the masses, you probably should speak the language of
gives new definitions. Somali
majority
pirates.
of people. Yeah. Yeah. Look at me. I am the captain now.
Dang it! One of those 2 are going to be the captain. We can't do anything about it. What if we don't vote? I don't know. One of them's going to be the captain.
It's just incredibly sad to me because there's good people there too. To your point, what are they going to do? Nothing. There's nothing they can do. They're in the minority.
Yeah. Left for vacation and lost everything.
It's crazy.
You know what we didn't lose? We didn't lose our faith.
Yeah. I know what I would do if that was happening in Indiana. I'd say, "Oh, Skippy, you got me. How about signing a lease for $1 a month?" And he'd go, "Oh, $1 a month is all you want?" "Yeah, $1 a month. Give me a 1 month, security deposit. Give me 1 month down, and then once they sign the lease, then I give them their notice, their eviction notice in 30 days. And you got 2 weeks to move out, and if you don't move out, take you to court because
you've established paperwork.
I give you 30. I give you 30 days. Indiana has a lease if you don't have one. It's called a month to month. And so you really don't even have to do the lease. All I have to do is just say, okay, well, these are my tenants, and I gave them a 30-day notice like I'm supposed to. You got 30 days to move out, and I'm filing for your eviction.
Yeah, well, let's not work on getting ourselves evicted because we are at the end of this 100th episode.
Yeah,
100th episode.
Yeah, we arrived at the end.
Yeah,
we're at done.
Thank you for being with us for this duration. Richard, would you like to lead us in the closing prayer?
Sure. Lord, thank you for the 100th episode that we've had today, Father. Thank you for all the important messages that have come out and more to come. Father, thank you for vision. Thank you for Josh and his hospitality here with us. And Father, just increase and multiply and bless him. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
That was the man that brought the message tonight, Mr. Richard Greenfield.
Yeah.
Woo.
Whoopee.
Hey, you got all the crowds cheering for you. They never turn the cameras
On
around.
the way in and the way out. Are you glad I'm leaving?
Thank you for joining us, sir.
No worries. Thank you for inviting me.
And no less on our 100th episode.
Yeah.
It's a special event.
Good question is, will I be here for the 200?
You never know. Vote out there. Comment. Let us know. Hopefully we have a 200th episode.
Hi, Mom.
Sterling's wife, Sarah, as you all know from last week's message, she just stepped into the studio. So, Hi, Sarah.
I was trying to give a little key, like, hi.
Yeah.
I don't want to be rude.
No, let's make it known. Yeah. But next to the man that brought the message, you know him, you love him, host of Laughing Libertarian. Maybe we'll get some episodes out
I don't know.
sooner or later.
We'll figure it out at some point.
We'll have to talk about it.
We'll do that.
We'll talk about it.
Let's talk. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hey, I got a guy.
Yeah.
She's got.
I got a guy.
But you know him, you love him, Alan McFarland.
Hey, thanks for having me on the show. I'm so pumped to be back in here. So hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll let him go ahead and keep this.
Well, and thanks for the humor. It's been missed around here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I try to be, but
when people say they miss me, I just assume they shot at me.
Try again.
I missed you. Whoa, I'm staying inside.
I missed your whole personality. You fill up the room with your personality, so it's always a pleasure to have you here. So
Thank you.
So thank you for being here tonight for the 100th episode. It means a lot.
I really appreciate it. Seriously.
And across from that guy, She's got a guy. The host of The Agenda with Crystal Risotti. Crystal Risotti.
Risotti. Thanks, Josh, for having me. This has been really fun, and it's great to meet you, and great to meet you.
You too.
Yeah, we've had a few firsts here tonight. People meeting each other, so that's hopefully we can keep that networking going because you are out there listening and watching and following and commenting and sharing because sharing is caring.
Oh, good
Every time.
timing.
A mosquito, a fly, like you said, a good pirouette. I think that's where she was going with it earlier.
Yeah.
Is it done
Every
yet?
time.
Somehow tattoo turned into tutu. I don't know. It was really weird.
And I've been your host, Joshua Cummins, reminding you to stay in trouble, everybody. You're going to stay in trouble. And I think there's some stuff that's about to happen here.
We're not sure.
So make sure you subscribe, you
recorded.
like, you share. I don't know what's going to happen next.
And down goes the mic. Down goes the mic.
Everything's going crazy. That was awesome.
Hoorah. So for those of you listening on audio, you got to make sure and go back over to like YouTube or Rumble or Facebook and watch because there was lots of confetti tonight, which I have been told by my wife that I'm cleaning it up solely.
As another handful comes into the frame.
Yeah, dump the whole bag.
I have to clean this up. Whoosh.
I like to see a man work.
And that's a bag. That's a bag of confetti.
Yes. I'm in trouble now. So stay in trouble with me, and we'll see you next week on episode 101.
I'm still waiting. I'm doing it right now.
See the Yeah, see, I rest my case. Oh, I'm still talking.